So much of fantasy world building is taking disparate things and putting them together in new and unique ways. And with that in mind, I am going to try a new thing here where I combine my hobbies, one of fantasy world building, the fantasy books, and cocktails, which are one of my favorite things. So with that in mind, let's get lit on some fantasy literature. I'm going to be doing a guest blog on the Before We Go blog, and thought it'd be a video would go well with it. So here we are. First up is The Tainted Cup by Robert Jackson Bennet, and it's great. It's a Sherlock Holmes in a Roman world analog where they change plants and animals through magic, adapt them, and kaiju attack every wet season. If you were going to build a story and world for me in a lab, this would be up there in it. And it's really great. It's really cool with the world building. So like, for air conditioning units, they have mushrooms that they modify to cool the air and that kind of thing. The main character is modified so he remembers everything, and he's a great Watson, and there's a great Sherlock. And so yeah, there's only one drink that you could do that goes with Murder by Tree, and so that is the Axe of Violets. This is a very floral drink, so I'm leaning into that with greenhouse gin. 2 shots of that. A lot of people use ounces. I just use a jigger. So that's 2 jiggers of gin. I go floral, but again, I hate juniper, so this is one of my favorite gins. All right, add to that a third of a shot of dry vermouth. It calls for Nolly Pratt, but I'm using Dolan because that's the brand we use around here. Then 2/3 of the one that gives it its name, Creme de Violet. It is fairly esoteric, but it's really good for aviations, which I highly recommend. 2/3 of that. Boop, boop, boop. Then 2/3 of lemon juice, freshly squeezed. And then half a shot of pasteurized egg, which may not be your thing. If you want to stick with the plant-based, then you can go with aquafaba, but for some reason I find bean juice to be kind of grosser. So there we are. Get a good shake. Then we reverse shake. And all that goes into a coupe. That reverse shake at the end is what gives it that lovely foamy head from the egg whites. Then, the original recipe calls for Angostura, but when you're adding bitters to something with egg, you put it at the top at the very end to get the smell of that. And instead of Angostura, to hide the taste of egg, I'm going to be using some honey lavender to really just lean into the plant base of it, and garnish with a little sprig of lavender. Ta-da. Next up we have Ink Blood Sister Scribe by Emma Torzs, T-O-Z-S. I don't really know how to say that. It's an urban fantasy world where kind of secret societies can, using their blood, write spells in books, and you have to recite the whole book. They can also do wards and that kind of thing. But it really focuses on a family of 2 sisters, one who's maintaining their library and the other who has been on the run, who magic doesn't work on, and then it brings in a 3rd society. That is what happens when the sister on the run decides to stop running, and they're all brought together, and it's pretty cool. It's a little more upmarket than I'm used to, which is to say that it's not plot driven, it's not beat to beat to beat to beat, and the screenwriter in me was like, well, get to the story, but it's more of how the characters are responding to things and what they feel and why they feel, and it's very successful because of it, and it hits all the notes very well. So there's only one thing to do with a cocktail that's based on blood, a system of making magic by ink made from blood, and that is an ink with a little blood sink. So this is kind of basically a Cosmo. And we are going to put a little bit of grenadine in there, and we're going to put it at the bottom. And this is going to be our blood. Usually you kind of float these things on top, but we are going to just put it right there at the bottom. And also, side note, I get most of my recipes from diffords.com. Not a sponsorship or anything there, just it's a really good site for cocktails, and it's where I've gotten all my information. So for the ink, we're going to modify it again. Like I said, it is 1 2/3 of a shot of Kettle 1, then half a shot of blue curacao, 1 1/3 shot of cranberry juice. And discerning drinkers will note this is basically cosmopolitan with minus some lime, and I kind of want it to have that, but it's kind of an effect looking one. So we're going to do some fake lime juice just to not disrupt the color of it, but 1/3 of a shot of lime juice or fake lime juice, and this is acid adjusted water. All of that gets stirred together as our son calls for his mother. And finally that is poured over. Hopefully it will get poured over. That we're going to do it over the back of the bar spoon so that we don't disturb it. And there we have an ink. A little bit of blood there at the bottom that you can't really see, but there is some in there. So a little bit more than half a cap full. Look next time if you want. Next up we have Alec Hutson's The Shadows of Dust, and this is continuing my non-European fantasy analog things. And if you've seen a cover more badass than this, I dare you to let me know. This is epic, and it fits the world itself, where you have intergalactic turtles and dragons and such, and people use them to ride between galaxies. You have liches that take up entire solar systems, or magic, feline creatures, aliens. It's very much kind of Star Wars or Firefly, where it's a crew of mismatched people and them trying to save the little girl when a lich and everyone is going after them because of alien artifacts. That is pretty cool. And anyways, we should tell Alec to write more of them, because he is doing other things, more epic fantasy stuff, and we need more of these books in my opinion. So yes, check that one out. We're going to go with Airmail. I was thinking of doing a Saturn because it's the easiest one, but the Airmail kind of fits with the passengers flying through intergalactic stuff. Airmail is called that because it's the fastest way to get from point A to point B being drunk. So for that, we are going to need, first half a shot of lime juice, a shot of rum. Golden rum is preferred. I like Florida Cana, the 7-year. And then half a shot of honey. I actually use just regular simple syrup. All that gets shaken together. And right into your glass. I'm using pebble ice. You probably don't really need to. And you top that deliciousness with some champagne. And then, because as I said I was going to do a Saturn, we still have the garnish for it. Nice little Saturn, we're going to put that there. Though usually I think it's mint that you use. So there you go, Shadows of the Dust, Alec Hutson, delicious Airmail. Next up we have Black Sun by Rebecca Roanhorse. This is there's 2 in the 3-book series, Between Earth and Sky, I believe. It's a more non-European medieval fantasy, and it's wonderful. It takes Mesoamerican, Native American cultures, kind of blends them together. This is a huge bunch of POVs, there's gods, different spirits, different cultures, lots of politics, all work together, and it is pretty awesome. Highly recommend this one. And to go with the Mesoamerican, Native American themes, we are trying to do a New World styled cocktail, and so it's a whiskey business, which is usually done with rye and ancho flavored liqueur. But this time we're going to try to use an actual Mexican bourbon that goes with it, and see how that works out, because it's the first time I've actually done that. So 1 shot of whiskey, in this case Mexican corn bourbon. Bourbon? Is it bourbon? No, corn whiskey. Sorry. Half a shot of chili liqueur, half a shot of lemon juice, and then half a shot of simple syrup. It's supposed to be a cinnamon sugar syrup. I'm using Demerara, and then I cleverly, long ago, made a tincture of cinnamon, and I just drop a few of that in there. So that is how I have cinnamon sugar syrup on the regular. And calls for Angostura as well. We'll get that in just a second. Serve it over a large cube of ice. And garnish with a lemon wheel, a little bit of ancho on top, or you can use tahini if you prefer. Finally, you'll forgive me for slipping my own book in here. It's coming out very soon, Rites of Passage. This is another urban fantasy. It's a non-Dresden murder mystery involving a kid that can douse and is brought into a mystical society. Is tapped to find an enchanter who has gone missing in what is a haunted house. So yeah, this is everything goes kind of, there's multiple magic systems, and magic is just right underneath everything. Masquerade, lots of fun. I think it's great. It all takes place in Sherman, Texas, which is where I went to college. And we drank a lot of things in Sherman, Texas, including flaming Dr. Peppers, which I will not try to recreate here. And so I invented my own drink, as far as I can tell, and I'm calling it the Sherman Shiner. Shiner being the beer that we drank a lot of. It is not the national beer of Texas, which is Lone Star. So this is a riff off the Spagat, which is High Life and Aperol, which sounds absolutely disgusting. So we have modified that. Take yourself a Shiner, drink about the neck of it. Then you're going to get some mezcal. Pour that right on in to fill up that neck. I'm going to say a third of a shot. Then you get yourself a lime wedge. Squeeze that all in there. Pop that in there. Thumb in there. Turn it upside down until it floats to the top. And you have yourself a Sherman Shiner. It's actually surprisingly delicious. So there you go, 5 books, fantasy books, and paired with cocktails, including a beer cocktail. I hope you enjoy them, hope you try them out, let me know, and hope you get lit on some fantasy lit, because that's what I'm about to go do.